It was a long time ago. It was as far ago away as King Harry and his daughter, Queen Elizabeth, that the first people of the Egyptians came to this land. But whether they really came from the land of the pharaohs or if they were refugees from the land of Hindustan is way, way back in the mist of time and mystery. But what I can tell you is that around about that time, when the wanderers came north to this place, they began to make their winter residence around the areas of Spittal and Horncliffe and Rothbury, and particularly at Kirk Yetholm, which even to this day is known as the royal seat of the King of the Far, the King of the Gypsies. Now, way back maybe 300 or more years ago, there was a big man among the gypsy folk of the borders, and he was called Lusher Flecky. Now, Lusher Flecky was not just big in stature, but he also was great. He was a champion at all of the sports that he excelled at, and all things that he did, he was champion of. He was an important man amongst the border gypsies. And as for his work, well, one day maybe he would be a tinsmith, and the next day perhaps he would be a knife grinder, and maybe on the third day he'd be a wandering piper, as the mood took him. Now, Lusher and his wife Mariam, they had an exquisite daughter called Judith. Now, Judith was elegant, tall, graceful. She had a beautiful face which had a dark, sultry complexion, and she had eyes the shapes of almonds and as black as the sloes, twinkling and lustrous. Now, she was beautiful, and she was vain, and her parents fed that vanity by decking her out with golden rings and trinkets from Lusher's silver urn. Now, this urn had been passed down to Lusher from his father and his father before him, and it held their treasure, and now it held Lusher's treasure, trinkets and jewels of all sorts. And now and then he would take some of these and deck his beautiful daughter with them. In fact, she was known in all the land around as the beautiful gypsy. And from the very earliest days, her mother Mariam had taught her the arts of fortune-telling and palmistry, and she excelled at this. So that all the noble and the proud and the wealthy ladies of Northumbria and of Roxburghshire would be eager to have her come and tell her their fortunes. For with her searching eyes, she could make them tremble with joy or with trepidation, as she wished. And she was a favourite amongst them, but they loved and feared her. And wherever she went, she was decked in the cast-offs of their own finery. Now, it was early on in the year, and a young sun came up over the hills of the Eildons, when about 40 of the people of the Far came there to make their camp. In no time at all, they'd set up their tents, they'd raised up flaming bonfires underneath their cauldrons, and the smells of savoury feast was blowing up into the air. And when they'd all eaten their fill and the brandy cup had gone round, Lusher Flecky got up and he put on his pipes and he started to play. And all the people, the men, women and children, jumped up and started to dance to the merry reels. And there in the very middle of all of them swung Judith, the beautiful gypsy, with her long tresses waving out behind her, like the queen of the dance she was. And her partner was a young lad of about 20. He was called Gemmill Graham. Now, Gemmill Graham was the most agile, the most daring, the strongest, the fastest, and the fiercest of all of his race. He was proud and he was passionate. In fact, he was very like Lusher Flecky had been himself when he was a younger man. And he was often Judith's partner at the dance. As they swung around, all the people were filled with merriment.